Prophecy coming alive about Jerusalem, Israel.
Jerusalem just crossed a line, and almost no one is talking about it. A new peace deal rises in the headlines. Cameras flash, leaders smile. On the surface, it looks like hope, maybe even history. But something in the air feels different this time. Stronger, heavier, like the city itself is holding its breath. Because right as nations celebrate, Jerusalem is stirring with signs most people never notice. Archaeologists uncover ancient steps leading straight toward the Temple Mount. Talks between Israel and Saudi Arabia move faster than anyone expected. Tension at the Al-Aqsa compound boils below the quiet. And deep beneath the stone streets, the oldest fault line in the region shifts again, right under the Mount of Olives. It's as if every layer of this city is whispering the same warning. Watch closely. Something is awakening. And the next sign is the one no one is ready for. Every time the world turns its eyes toward Jerusalem, the same pattern appears. It looks new, it looks fresh, but underneath, it's the same cycle repeating like a clock that never stops ticking. Peace, then tension, tension, then war, war, then another desperate reach for peace. It happened at Camp David. It happened in Oslo. It happened with the Abraham Accords. Each time the world cheered. Each time the ink dried and the streets grew restless again. And now the cycle returns. Only this time it feels sharper, more global, more coordinated. Leaders talk about regional unity. Nations discuss joint security frameworks. Powerful alliances tighten their grip across the Middle East. But here's the part almost no one sees. Every round of peace grows bigger. Every collapse hits harder. And every step pulls the world closer to the prophecy written long before any treaty existed. And the next phase of that prophecy is about to come into view. Long before modern borders, long before treaties or summits, a prophecy was written that still shapes the world today. Daniel spoke of a clock, not a normal one, but a divine timeline. 69 prophetic weeks passed exactly as foretold. Then the clock stopped. For centuries it stayed silent. Empires rose, empires fell. Jerusalem burned, Jerusalem was rebuilt. But the final week, the 70th week, never began. And here's where things turn unsettling. Daniel wrote that the last 7-year period would begin when a covenant is strengthened, not created, strengthened, reinforced, given new power. And today, as nations gather around Jerusalem again, as old agreements get rewritten, as new alliances rise that link Israel, Arab states, and global powers, many experts whisper the same quiet question: is the ancient clock starting again? Because if it is, the next 7 years won't look anything like the last. Something is shifting, and the next sign is closer than anyone thinks. If Daniel's clock truly moves again, it won't start in Washington, or Riyadh, or Brussels. It begins in one place only: Jerusalem. Because every major shift in prophecy circles this city like a storm circling its eye. And right now, that storm is growing. Talks between Israel and key Arab nations grow warmer. Saudi normalization edges closer. International leaders push for a shared Jerusalem, an idea loaded with risk. And under the Temple Mount, pressure builds as both sides claim the ground as sacred. But here's the part most people miss. A covenant doesn't need to be brand new to change the world. Sometimes all it takes is a leader bold enough to strengthen one that already exists, to reinforce it.
Expand it, tie more nations into it. And when that happens, Jerusalem becomes the fuse. Because every agreement touching this city hits something ancient, something spiritual, something that reacts. And once that fuse is lit, it cannot be unlit. The world thinks peace is forming, but the next phase, it won't feel like peace at all. Peace is a powerful word. It calms crowds. It wins elections. It makes the world breathe for a moment, even when danger hides underneath. Revelation warns of a figure who arrives on a white horse, a symbol that looks holy, looks pure, looks righteous. But the peace he brings is not real. It is thin ice over deep water. This rider doesn't conquer with bombs or armies. He conquers with promises, smooth words, bold claims, deals that seem too good to fail. And here's where it gets unsettling. Every time the world celebrates peace in Jerusalem, every time a leader steps forward saying, "This is the answer," the pattern matches the same warning. A false peace always comes first. Because deception never walks in shouting. It comes dressed in hope, in unity, in the idea that mankind can finally fix itself. But the prophecy says this peace will not last. In fact, it's only the first step towards something far darker. And that darkness is already moving. When false peace takes root, it doesn't stay small. It grows. It spreads. It builds a system around itself, one that looks safe on the outside, but quietly tightens its grip. You can already see the pieces forming. Nations move toward digital ID programs. Central banks test new digital currencies. Surveillance networks expand across borders. Major powers, Russia, China, Iran, push deeper into the Middle East, shaping a new world order. And while the world watches political debates and news headlines, something else forms under the surface. A global structure that promises unity, but demands control. Prophecy warned of this long before technology existed. A time when the world would move in one direction, under one system, guided by one voice. And the strange part? Most people won't see it as danger. They'll see it as progress, safety, stability. But this is the trap hidden inside the peace. Because once this system locks into place, the next rider will step onto the stage, and he won't come quietly. Once the false peace cracks, the world won't ease into chaos. It will fall into it. Revelation says the next rider is the red horse, the one who takes peace from the earth. Not a local fight, not a border clash, a chain reaction. Nations already stand on edge. Superpowers trading threats. Iran and Israel locked in shadow war. Syria and Lebanon simmering. A single spark could pull the world into a firestorm. But the red horse is only the beginning. Right behind him comes the black horse, carrying scales. This is the famine rider. Food prices climb. Supply lines break. A day's wages for a loaf of bread, just like the prophecy warned. And then the last rider follows. The pale horse, the color of sickness, disease, breakdown, death moving where systems fail. These three riders don't come by accident.
They come when false peace collapses, and something in our world suggests they are closer than they've ever been. If you want to understand prophecy, Don't look at world leaders. Don't look at global speeches. Don't even look at the nations arguing for power. Look at Jerusalem. This city is more than stone and history. It's the spiritual center of the world, a place where every prophecy line seems to meet. Why does every treaty mention it? Why do global powers fight over a hill only half a square mile wide? Why does the UN vote on it more than any city on earth? Because Jerusalem is the stage of the final story. Right now, tension on the Temple Mount rises each year. Archaeologists uncover more evidence of the ancient temple. Groups in Israel prepare priests and sacred vessels. Talk of a third temple grows louder. And fault lines beneath the Mount of Olives shift again, right where prophecy says the king will return. The world thinks Jerusalem is a political city. Prophecy says it's the clock of God. And that clock is ticking faster. With all the chaos, all the fear, all the rising tension, it's easy to think the story ends in darkness. But prophecy doesn't end with the riders. It ends with a return. Revelation speaks of another white horse, not the false one, not the deceiver, but the true king. The one whose eyes are like fire. The one who carries many crowns. The one who judges with truth, not tricks. When he comes, the shaking stops. The wars break. The lies fall. The systems collapse. The mountain facing Jerusalem splits from east to west. And every nation sees the same thing at the same moment. The king has returned. This is why prophecy matters, not to scare us, but to anchor us, to remind us that no matter how dark the world becomes, the end of the story is not fear, it's victory. But victory always comes after the shaking, and the next shake is almost here. Everything we've seen so far, the peace deals, the rising alliances, the pressure on Jerusalem, the digital systems growing across the world, they're not random, they're not noise, they're markers. But there is one sign prophecy points to, one moment so sharp, so sudden, so undeniable that when it happens, the entire world will feel it at the same time. A shift on the Temple Mount, a political deal that crosses a line, a discovery beneath the city that changes everything, a move by a world leader that looks like peace, but awakens something ancient. Most people won't recognize it when it appears. They'll call it progress, stability, hope. But those who watch, those who understand the pattern, they'll sense it instantly. Because when this next sign comes, it won't just confirm prophecy, it will begin the countdown. And that countdown is closer than anyone is ready for.